Time for Focus, and it's a massive day here in France today for those supporting gay marriage. The topic under debate by the country's top politicians in Parliament. A few weeks ago, of course, Paris saw a massive anti-gay marriage demonstration. Critics say effectively organised by the Catholic Church, which is deeply opposed to any change to allow gay marriage here. And yet, just over the border in Spain, also a deeply Catholic country, gay people have been getting married for several years, including many celebrities, and gay couples are allowed to raise children. France 24's Sarah Morris reports from Madrid.
This Madrid hotel is run by Enrique Sarasola, son of a famous businessman, himself a successful entrepreneur. He married his partner Carlos in 2006, just after gay marriage was legalised. The couple's glamorous gay wedding was the first to make the cover of famous Hola magazine.
The ex-Prime Minister Felipe González made a speech. The Defence Minister attended. Spain's top actors and actresses, aristocrats.
The King's niece.
The fact there were so many people at the wedding means that a gay person in a village in Andalusia might be more likely to say, "I want to get married, and I will do it."
Other celebrities in the media and politics have also tied the knot, changing the way society sees same-sex marriage.
Initially, of course, like in France, the Catholic Church was against it. But they've seen that they didn't change anything. Suddenly, society accepted it.
Enrique and Carlos now have a daughter. Spain's gay marriage law also legalised adoption. Two-thirds of Spaniards support same-sex unions, but many Catholics are still fiercely opposed.
This law was approved by a very transitory political majority, and in many media there are well-known personalities who have lobbied for their own interests. The striking thing is that despite that, people have come out onto the street in an exceptional way.
In June 2005, just before the law was passed, tens of thousands protested against it. Since then, opposition has softened, even among those educated during the dictatorship.
In Franco's time, gay people were imprisoned.
I'm not happy about it, no. We had a government that thought anything went. That's how we ended up in this mess.
It used to seem odd to us, but now it's normal. Even TV presenters have come out as being gay.
When Javier Gomez and Manuel Rodenas married in 2006, there was huge media attention. It was the first gay wedding of members of the Conservative People's Party.
There are a lot of gays and lesbians in the People's Party, and our marriage and fight for gay rights has served as an example.
It was a Conservative mayor that married two people tied to the People's Party. That's when people stopped saying this was just a left-wing obsession.
The union of two men or two women is no longer surprising in Spain. In 7 years, there have been 22,000 same-sex weddings.
Well, Sarah joins us now from Madrid. Sarah, your report there showing increasing acceptance for same-sex marriage. How have attitudes actually changed, do you think, in the last 7 years?
Well, I think when the law was initially passed, there was a majority of Spaniards interviewed in polls that did support the legalisation. But we've seen that figure, that percentage even increase since the law has been in place. And one of the reasons that gay and lesbian associations think that has happened has been precisely because of some of these famous Spaniards that have come out and said that they are going to marry their partners, people that many Spaniards didn't even realise were gay. A High Court judge married his partner. We've seen famous TV presenters, and many associations of gay and lesbians here think that that has actually helped to diminish homophobia. Certainly in schools, they think that that has helped young people who were previously bullied for being gay actually point to examples and say these are normal families, these are normal couples who want to get married like anybody else.
And Sarah, Spain has moved faster on same-sex marriage, of course, than some other countries, including France, as we said. And yet homosexuality was still illegal, wasn't it, under the right-wing dictatorship of Franco that lasted until 1975. How did this law come about, and was it hard to get through at the time?
Well, many people who did live through the Franco dictatorship are astonished at how fast things have moved, and they talk about what it was like to be gay during that era, which lasted until the 1970s. Basically, it was a policy that was introduced by the socialist Prime Minister Zapatero, and many people, even within Zapatero's own party, were against the law. The law was rejected by the Senate. It had to go back to the Parliament. The church was vehemently opposed and brought a lot of people out onto the streets. But eventually the law was pushed through with a majority and went onto the statute books.
So how much opposition is there now, and are people surprised even that there's still a ban on same-sex marriage here in France?
Well, of course, now the government is ruled by the Conservative Party, and the Conservative Party actually took this law, appealed the law to the Constitutional Court, saying that marriage should only be between a man and a woman. And it took 7 years for that appeal to finally be heard. The Constitutional Court finally ruled that the law was constitutional at the end of last year. And the surprise to many was that the Conservative government actually said that it would not then appeal the law. It would let the law stand, and I think that's probably a sign of pressure within the party, and the large feeling that the majority of Spaniards are pretty relaxed about the law, support the law, and that the Conservatives had very little to gain from making this a case, from deciding to take on the gay community and then deciding to turn against this law. Many, as we saw in that report, even within the PP party, there is a gay community that is supportive of the law and doesn't really want to listen to the church, which has previously been very dominant in Spanish society.
And briefly, Sarah, the biggest debate, of course, is whether gay couples should get the right to adopt for many. How does that work in Spain?
Well, the law in Spain was very, very simple. It didn't rewrite the marriage law in a huge way. Essentially, it just simply put a sentence into the marriage code to use the term spouse. And it said that couples should have the same rights and responsibilities, and that includes adoption and the right to artificial insemination to have children.
Sarah, thanks very much. Sarah Morris, our correspondent there in Madrid. Thanks very much. That was today's focus. Stay with us if you can.
The European Talking Point on France 24. Talking Europe, with all the main European news, debates between representatives of the best and worst performing EU members.